Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're jumping into, well, a pretty incredible story, Marshall Mathers, or as everyone knows him, Eminem. We've got some key bits here from Eminem, from Detroit streets to global stardom, to help us unpack it all. So our mission really for you listening is to figure out how this kid, from the tough streets of Detroit, dealing with poverty, bullying, all that stuff, how he didn't just find a voice, but became this massive global icon. It's just an amazing story of grit, raw talent, and finding some kind of redemption. So what's the first thing that jumps out?
Well, what's really fascinating right off the bat is how early he found words, language as an escape. Here's this white kid, mostly black neighborhood in Detroit, dodging bullies, tough family life. And he dives into comic books, then dictionaries, dictionaries. And eventually, the rhythm of rhyming, that connection to words, it wasn't just like a pastime. It was basically where his whole artistic thing started cooking.
Yeah, that deep dive into words, it really pushed him past just messing around with rhymes. By 14, he's Eminem, right? And he's stepping into those pretty brutal rap battles, spitting wrongs even when people were jeering. What does that tell us, that early kind of courage, that vulnerability, especially with his rough home life and dropping out of school at 17? What drove that?
It really points to this almost desperate need to get something out. I mean, think about it. He's a new dad to Haley, working dead-end jobs. Then his first album, Infinite, back in '96, it totally bombed, just nothing. And that wasn't just, like, bad sales. It was a rejection of the sound he was trying then, maybe a bit more conventional. So that kind of forced him, forced him to really dig deep and figure out who he was as an artist. He basically ditched that old approach and leaned right into Slim Shady, that provocative, no-filter persona, sometimes failing completely is what actually sparks the real breakthrough.
That's such a key moment, that pivot. Because just a year later, '97, the Slim Shady EP comes out, and boom, it lands in Dr. Dre's lap. What was different? What made that one connect after Infinite fell flat?
I think it was the rawness, just unvarnished honesty. The dark humor was there, and just the sheer audacity of it all. Aftermath signed him, and then the Slim Shady LP in '99 just exploded. My name is suddenly Marshall Mathers is Eminem, this huge international star, but with this really wicked, sometimes pretty disturbing alter ego, kind of proved that being authentic, even if it's dark or unsettling, can hit really hard.
Right, and the momentum from there, wow. The Marshall Mathers LP in 2000 selling millions, really laying bare all that rage, the pain, but also the lyrical skill in tracks like Stan or The Real Slim Shady.
Yeah.
But, we always see this, don't we? Massive fume often brings its own shadows, its own costs.
Oh, absolutely. The sources are pretty clear that the pressure, his own demons, it led to a really severe pill addiction, nearly killed him in 2007. And it makes you ask, right? Even when you reach that peak, global stardom, why do those deep-seated struggles sometimes get louder instead of quieter? It just highlights that success doesn't automatically fix what's broken inside. Sometimes, maybe it just shines a brighter light on it.
Yeah, a stark reminder that the internal work, it just keeps going.
Mm-hmm.
But then, after rehab, getting sober in 2008,
Yeah.
he claws his way back. Recovery in 2010 was huge. It proved he could still dominate, still have that artistic power. And then, incredibly, jumped to 2024, the death of Slim Shady hits #1. Still wrestling with his own legacy, his own creation after all this time. What's that say about resilience?
Mm-hmm.
But being willing to confront your own past, even your alter ego.
It says, first, his connection to Detroit, his roots stayed incredibly strong. And his rhyming skills, still razor sharp, which is amazing. His whole story, it's really a testament to how artists can rise above really challenging beginnings. Not just by changing, but by actively grappling with their own story, their own demons. He didn't back away from confronting his past or Slim Shady himself. And that honesty, that willingness to wrestle with it all, I think that's what's kept him so powerful and relevant for decades.
So thinking about Eminem's whole arc, finding escape in words when things were tough, then facing down his alter ego, his addictions, and still evolving his sound. What does that really tell us about the power of a truly authentic creative voice, how it can change and still resonate so deeply, even as the artist themselves changes throughout life? That's definitely something to chew on.